So, RC, who do you think is under more pressure, again, with winning the Super Bowl? But that's where we're at with these two teams, to win a Super Bowl next season. Is it Josh Allen or Lamar Jackson?
I think it's Lamar Jackson. I mean, the truth is that both of them are under a ton of pressure. There's no two quarterbacks in the world that are under more pressure than Lamar Jackson and Josh Allen. But we all know the rhetoric around both of the players is different. We know that based on what we've seen different from them in certain playoff situations, Josh Allen has elevated to this place that without a Super Bowl, in many times he is uncriticizable, or we hear the excuses that are made for him not winning. Lamar Jackson doesn't get that. Lamar Jackson has had times in the playoffs where he's underperformed, going back to his first performance against the Los Angeles Chargers as a young player. And we saw the same thing in the AFC Championship against the Kansas City Chiefs when Zay Flowers fumbles the football going in, but Lamar Jackson throws a late interception. And even with Mark Andrews dropping the football in the divisional playoff round 2 years ago, it was all about Lamar Jackson, the early fumble and the interception. Lamar Jackson not only has to win a Super Bowl, I think Lamar Jackson has to play extremely well. We are, and people are tired of talking about how great he is during the regular season. The conversation always goes to, what have you done for me lately, and what have you done for me in the biggest moments? And that's not going anywhere for Lamar Jackson just because John Harbaugh, who had already won a Super Bowl, is now the head coach of the New York Giants.
RC, I'll concede that you're probably right. Let me just be transparent in what I was thinking when I was first asked this question before I learned what you just said. I was thinking the answer to this question for this specific question was Josh Allen and obviously Joe Brady in Buffalo. And the reason I was thinking that, RC, was because we saw a collective collapse by the Baltimore Ravens. We saw at the beginning of the season before Lamar Jackson got hurt, him playing at arguably an MVP level, but their defense couldn't hold mustard. We saw them lose a 15-point lead and lose like 41-40, opening night of the season. We saw them start off 1-5. We saw their defense finish 18th in the league, 24th in yards allowed, 30th out of 32 teams against the pass. So we saw all of these things from the Baltimore Ravens, and I'm thinking there's a lot to fix in Baltimore, more so than there is to fix in Buffalo, even though everything we talked about earlier applied when we compared Allen, talking about Drake May and all of this other stuff, Drake May and bringing in Joe Brady and all. We talked about all of these things rather. In this particular instance with this question, the reason I say Allen and Brady is because Brady is not new. You were the offensive coordinator. They kept the dude in-house, so chemistry and cohesiveness remains intact. Your defense wasn't as bad as Baltimore's. Josh Allen is still that guy. And so as a result, what possible excuse could you have if Brandon Beane gives you a tweak here or there to elevate the roster? Whereas in Baltimore, they gave us the impression the problems exist far more than just Lamar not being big time in big time moments, even though we know he has been at times. You got an offensive coordinator that didn't give Derrick Henry the ball in pivotal situations from time to time, who's now your head coach in Cleveland, okay? He's going to still be there. But you also got a defense that just could, Ray Lewis, Ed Reed, and those boys have been going a long time and never was it more apparent than this season. And so that's what we're looking at. That's the only reason I gave the answer to this question being Allen as opposed to Lamar Jackson.
And like you're looking, and I get it, what you're doing is looking at the micro of it, right? Where you are just analyzing football. You're looking at these two rosters and these two organizations and saying, in your opinion, which one is closer right now? I'm talking about when we pull back from it, when we look at the perspective and the prism that Lamar Jackson has been viewed from, it's different, Stephen A. Lamar Jackson coming out of college along with Josh Allen, very similar players, right? Underdeveloped passers, extremely talented, athletic individuals. Josh Allen wasn't asked to change positions. There weren't those conversations going on, but they were going on about Lamar Jackson. Lamar Jackson almost fell out of the first round, even though he was a more accomplished college football player after winning the Heisman, taking Louisville to heights that we hadn't seen them as a team. Lamar Jackson started on the bench. Lamar Jackson had to play. And even when he started to be a good player, it was, he's a running back playing the quarterback position. And then once he proved, beyond a shadow of a doubt, he was one of the best players in the league by winning an MVP, the conversation shifted. And it shifted to his lack of production and the team's lack of success in the playoffs, even though neither he nor Josh Allen has ever been to the Super Bowl. But there was times where we saw Josh Allen play at the top of his game. We haven't seen a game from Lamar Jackson in the playoffs, and this is as fair as I could possibly be, where I thought Lamar Jackson was fully his best self. And so until we get that performance, or until we get a performance that wins the Super Bowl, there is pressure on both of these men, but I still don't believe that the rhetoric coming out of a Lamar Jackson failure will be the same as coming out of a Josh Allen Buffalo Bill failure.
You're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. I mean, you from a macro perspective, as we step back and we look through that prism, you're absolutely right. I was doing the macro. You were doing the I was doing the micro. You were doing the macro. I totally get it. As an aside, Shae, RC, you said something. This doesn't really have much to do with our conversation, but you said something that I just thought about. Do you know when we talk about Lamar Jackson, we always bring up the league MVPs? I almost never hear anybody remind us that he actually won the Heisman. And at the time in 2016 when he won the Heisman, he was the youngest recipient of the Heisman Trophy. He won it as a sophomore in college. All right? I mean, you almost never hear that. These Heisman commercials that they have, I never see him in them. Maybe I missed it. If there was one, I apologize. But I watch a lot of TV. I've never seen it. I mean, I'm like, wait a minute. He did win the Heisman. Damn, I forgot. You know, I literally forgot because we never, ever, ever talk about it. So I get your point.
Bill's son, Bill Polian, took to social media to defend his father, posting, quote, "My father is a public figure and polarizing. I understand and accept that. However, what has happened over the last couple of days is not right. The facts and truths are important." End quote. Again, that was posted to X, tagged First Take and a few other programs and people. SA, you want to react? Go ahead.
Let me say this to Bill Polian. Your father is one of the great executives to exist in NFL history. Mm-hmm. We criticized his position about Bill Belichick when he said he was 95% sure, because what the hell you mean 95%? It's either 100 or nothing. I mean, it just happened 2 weeks ago. What are you talking about? This is before he went on the air and clarified it. And then, obviously, there were questions about the veracity of his statements and how honest and forthcoming he truly was once he heard the backlash. I want to tell Bill Polian, mad respect to you. You know what? Every father should want a son like you that's going to speak up on behalf of his daddy. There's nothing wrong with what you're saying. I take no offense. I don't think this show should take any offense. I don't think anybody should take offense at what you're saying. What I would respectfully ask you, however, to consider is this. Your father being the great executive that he is, having the appreciation for greatness within the NFL that he does, being the historian on the NFL that he has been at age 83, just an iconic figure in the sport. And I think that's fair to call him that as an executive, RC. I hope you agree with that.
Sure.
My point is that it's a shock to our system to know that somebody as great as Bill Belichick has a question mark attached to him as a first ballot Hall of Famer by anybody who knows the game and has achieved great things within the game. That was where we were coming at Bill Polian about, because when he was asked a question, obviously having a vote, and he's saying he's 95% sure. Yeah, you've got people out there that may have lied on him and said he was in the room and he brought up questions about Bill Belichick, etc., and Bill Polian, to his credit, denied that and clarified that. But what we can't get around was the 95%. What do you mean 95%? And then when he elaborated and explained and he talked about, you know, data and how he had to double check to make sure his vote went in, stop that. You know what the question is. Did you vote for him? We don't know. I mean, did the vote reach the, did it get into the system? Did it get recorded properly? Nah. Did you vote for him? That's what we were asking. And when he said 95%, we were like, what? Yeah. What do you mean 95%? You either voted for him or you didn't. That's all. And so I just, again, Bill Polian has every right to come to the defense of his daddy, and your daddy is worth it. He's a great executive. He's a great man. And a lot of people that you talk to in NFL circles echo the sentiments that I have because that's where I get it from. You understand? Because that's what they told me about him. Your father is revered. We understand that. But it's because of the reverence that he deserves, he has earned, and he has required because of what he's earned, that it's hard for us to imagine that there was a scintilla of trepidation that he may have had about the greatness of Bill Belichick and him being worthy of a first ballot Hall of Fame. He came on the air and clarified it on radio thereafter, and I understand that. But in real time, that wasn't the case. And that's what we were responding to. And as members of the media with the television platform, we not only have a right to do that, we have an obligation. And that's what we did. And that's all I wanted to say.
Yeah, I mean, if you Brian Polian and you feel like you know something that we don't know or the media doesn't know, you should absolutely take to whatever platforms you have and defend your father. I think the thing is this, right? We speak from the perspective of what we know. We speak from the perspective of the news and the information that is out there. And as Bill Polian has continued to speak more, as we found out more information, that's when your take and your opinion adjust. It's unfathomable that Bill Belichick wouldn't get every vote. I think for me, that's more the issue than what Bill Polian may have or may not have said. For Bill Polian to be confused in any manner without 100% certainty that he voted for Bill Belichick is odd to me. And for whatever people said about him, I can be honest, I haven't spoke about Bill Polian a ton. I have a ton of respect for Bill Polian. I've had green room conversations with him that have truly impacted the way that I see football, with the knowledge and experience that he's had, which is why it's so surprising after having those conversations to hear some of the rumors about what he could have been involved in that may have kept Bill Belichick out of the Hall of Fame as a first ballot recipient.
Here's the quote that I want his son to remember. If you're us, because you know your daddy, 6-time NFL Executive of the Year, architect of 4 straight Super Bowl appearances with the Buffalo Bills, won the Super Bowl championship with the Indianapolis Colts with Peyton Manning as quarterback. We know who he is and what he means to football. So knowing all of that, imagine us hearing this. This is after he confirmed that he had voted for Bill Belichick. The Pro Football Hall of Fame has confirmed that fact through the auditors of the selection process. Huh? Okay. But what we were asking you was, did you vote for him? It's a yes or no. And when he said 95%, well, that means there was a 5% chance that you didn't vote for Bill Belichick to be a first ballot Hall of Famer. That's how it goes. And so it's important that Bill Polian and his son Brian both get that and understand that. You were getting criticized because of how great you are and what you mean to football and how you should know better than almost anyone as an 83-year-old 6-time Executive of the Year in the National Football League what Bill Belichick means to football. And as Swagoo would say, you can't tell the story of the NFL without having Bill Belichick in it. That's usually confirmation that you're a first ballot Hall of Famer.